Hello and welcome back to Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. I am Mr. Randy and welcome back to another episode of Final Pours. Now if you're new to the channel, hello and welcome. The Final Pours is the conclusion of the reviewing process. So first we start with Off the Rip, which is basically your first impressions with your first crack and first pour of the bottle. Now the full review is where you get about to the midway point of the bottle. That way you've had enough time to acclimate to it, to get to know the whiskey, and for the whiskey to open up and give you what most would consider the full experience. Now, the final pour is after you've gotten down to basically the last pour or two. Now, at this point, the majority of that bottle has been empty and allowed this whiskey to off-gas, and yeah. So now we're going to get this whiskey at its lowest point and at its weakest point. Now we're really going to truly find out what this whiskey is made of. So let's get into it. So this is the Fighting 69th. It is an Irish whiskey. Check out the full review for more information. This has a nice cork. It is synthetic, so of course that means it's, you know, it's nice golden with the Gaelic symbols and whatnot. So I believe I've got just more than a final pour on this. I'm not going to put it all in the glass. You can see there's maybe one more pour, but it's close enough. Now, again, that has got a nice, beautiful golden color to it. Let's see if the viscosity, the oiliness of the whiskey has held up over the entirety of the bottle. It appears somewhat thin, but it still looks like it's holding in there. I mean, we got some pretty decent legs coming off of this. I know it's might be kind of hard to see that, but you can see it's got some pretty decent legs there. Under the nose, you're still getting this vibrant, somewhat pungent of a fragrance. It's like honey. The ethanol is still strong enough to carry a lot of these notes out. Now, the last two videos, I gave this whiskey a relatively good reviews, and I think this one is going to be no exception. I think this is going to be quite in line. It definitely smells a bit tired. You know, like it's not as strong and as pungent as it first was, nor that it was on the full review. But it does not smell offensive. It does not smell weak. It may smell weakened, but that's to be expected, especially on the last pour or two of the bottle. Like I said, the ethanols and whatnot have had time to off-gas from the liquid into the empty space, and there you go. Okay, let's get it on the palate. Still quite juicy on the palate. There is a bit of a, I don't want to call it a drying note, but there is a sort of taste of the decay. That's sort of where that, like I said, all that ethanol has off-gassed. It's had plenty of room to open and expand. Time as well. There's a little bit of decay in there. The oxidization has taken its toll. Now, again, Mr. Randy truly believes that you shouldn't archive whiskey. You need to drink it. It's the experience that we drink the whiskey for. Don't let it sit on a shelf and go to waste. Drink it. Replace it with another bottle if you may. But drink it. That's what it's here for. So the nose is still holding up quite a bit as far as I'm experiencing. The palate as well. There's definitely a little bit of spice. There is some fruit, maybe some red fruits, apple. I don't really get much of a pear at this point, but it's still juicy. Still fruit, still honey, still spice. Let's get a finish on this and see how it works. Mm. You can see it still has some pretty decent viscosity going on. It hasn't quite decayed enough to lose that part, that characteristic. On the finish, it's somewhere between mild and moderate. There's a little bit of tingliness. I am feeling it sort of on the upper cheeks, a little bit on the tip, but everything's relatively mild. There is a slight little sensation on the back of the throat. Not sure quite whether to say that is a burn, a heat, or just that sourness from the decay of the whiskey. Whiskey goes bad. Whiskey goes bad probably in a matter of weeks to months. Wine, because Mr. Randy does do wine, so I get it. I haven't done a wine in quite a while. I've been focused more on the spirit side than the wine side. But wine, once you pop that cork, just like a whiskey, the clock is running. The clock runs faster on wine. I don't have the science nailed down on it yet, so I'm not going to say anything. But it's essentially the same science. Okay, you have off-gassing. You have the decay of the spirit. You have the molecular bondings breaking down. It basically is in an accelerated state of decay. Wine, on the other hand, because of how it is manufactured, accelerates faster. So wine typically has anywhere from 3 to 5 days before it really starts to go south. I can attest to this. So the first 3 days is when you're supposed to enjoy that wine pretty much immediately. Like they say, when you open that bottle, you need to drink it, okay? If you're going to recork it, even if you vacuum seal it and recork it, which I've done, I can still attest, it does go bad relatively quickly. A week, no more than a week and a half, you're really going to start to get the sourness in that wine. Just like in whiskey, no matter if it's a Scotch or an Irish, American or bourbon or Japanese or British or African or South, whatever have you. But it goes bad. Drink it before it goes bad. You don't want to have that experience of a good whiskey that's going to sit on the shelf. You're savoring that last pour or two for a special occasion, and when that occasion comes, it really lets you down. There have been 2 instances recently in social media where an individual has saved a very expensive, very important bottle of Scotch only to be extremely disappointed because when they finally popped that cork, it was disgusting. It was an extreme letdown. And they came out and they were man enough to come out and say, I screwed up. I should have drank it when I had the chance. Should have drank it when I had the chance. You should drink it when you have the chance because Mr. Randy's going to drink it right after this. So let us know in the comments what you think. Always willing to hear you. Always willing to talk to you. And as always, thanks for stopping by here at Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. I am Mr. Randy. You have a good one.